Get a cup, get a cup, get a cup. Hello, hello. Welcome back everyone to another video. I'm freshcutslim, and today we're looking at this TikTok AI prank has become a massive problem for police. This is by a Tozy. It's my first time reacting to a Tozy video. I am familiar with the Tozy. I've seen some of other Tozy stuff, and it's pretty interesting. I'm not sure if you guys are going to like this reaction or not, but hopefully you do. With that being said, the original link's in the description. Make sure you go subscribe to a Tozy. Without any further ado, let's begin.
This woman thought it would be funny to prank her husband with an AI-generated photo of a fake home intruder. Instead, she ended up with criminal charges.
How? The idea is funny, like you show the husband, he freaks out, but I guess maybe, like, you gotta tell him before he calls the police that it's just a joke. Did she not do that and then he called the police? I can see how that, makes sense.
Massive skill issue. Come on, how?
Is this screen a bit too big? Oh, it is. What the frick is going on here? Why is this screen so big? Okay, gotta fix this now.
How would you not know that this is a terrible idea? But this whole story starts off with her husband at work, and he gets a text from his wife saying that a stranger just forced his way into their home.
Oh my gosh. I can see how this, didn't end up going over as planned. It's kind of a funny idea if he comes home and then you kind of like, look what someone broke in, and then you're like, oh, look at the pictures. And then before he calls the police, just kind of like, hey, it's a joke. I just generated this. That makes a lot more sense than, like, if you're telling him at work, because then, yeah, he's going to freak out and call the cops.
And then the wife sends a photo. A man you've never seen before laying on your couch. I feel like it's safe to say that basically anyone would panic and call 911. And what happens when you call the police saying there's someone in your house that you do not know? Well, they pull up, except when they got there, there's no intruder. It's just your partner sitting there on the couch with their phone on a tripod because it was just a prank. And that's exactly what happened in Bethesda, Maryland. And this is how a dumb viral TikTok trend turned Moesha Gardner into the face of a new AI-powered legal mess. So on October 8, 2025, Montgomery County Police got a 911 call from a terrified husband who believed someone had broken into his home. He told dispatchers that his wife said a stranger forced his way in. She even sent him a picture, a man covered in a blanket, lying on their living room couch.
Why would she think that's like a good idea? Obviously, this went according to how most people think it would go. Oh, someone's breaking in. I should call the cops. Duh.
Responded code 3, which means it's a top priority. 8 cruisers were diverted from other calls to rush straight to this house.
8 cruisers. Yo, so there's a lot of other people who need help, and now all of a sudden they're not getting it.
And when officers got there, they didn't find a home invasion. They found Gardner sitting alone on her couch with a phone on her tripod aimed at the door, waiting there like, hey, this is a prank. And obviously that led to a very awkward explanation. Like, honestly, what was she expecting here? Her husband to come fly kicking through the door and to beat up this homeless person?
Sounds like it. Some people have way too high of expectations for their partners.
Also, like, how do you not hear 8 police cruisers show up? Like, if anything, that would be your sign to maybe take the phone off the tripod and start working on your apology here. But according to Montgomery County Department of Police, she admitted that it was all just a prank. She had just used AI to generate the image of a man on the couch. And the prank, clearly it cost her a criminal record. Piashira Goff, who's a spokesperson of Montgomery County Police, said, this is something that should be taken seriously. If we get a call and someone says they're in crisis or in need, we have to respond. And thankfully they do so. So we really shouldn't be taking them for granted. And she explained that the husband believed the situation was real. He relayed the dispatch, which set off a chain reaction. She said the husband is actually thinking this is legitimate. He relays that.
No kidding. It's one thing if you set up like a camera and then the husband comes home and then you're like, then you tell him all and then you show him the pictures to get his reaction. And before he freaks out further, hey, it's just a prank, bro. Why so serious? That makes more sense as a prank than, like, telling him at work, where he has the rest of the day to freak out about this. Is this person like a stay-at-home mom or something, where they don't really have anything better in their life to do, so they just...
that information on our 911 dispatcher. So now we have multiple officers that are being called from other incidents to respond to something that wasn't a real emergency. Gardner, the wife, was arrested and charged with making a false report of a crime and providing a false statement to a state official. She was later then released.
How did she give a false statement? If she admitted to everything, that she's the one who didn't give a false statement. The husband was the one who gave a false statement, but to him it was, I guess the husband, I don't know, that doesn't make sense though. If you prank your friend, and then your friend freaks out and gets the cops on you, like, how do you give a false statement? Unless you're telling the police lies, then what you said was just a prank and the other person kind of misinterpreted it or whatever. I don't know.
on a $10,000 bond. So this is where things got interesting, because technically she wasn't the one who called 911. Her husband did. But her entire call was based on her saying that a stranger had forced his way into their home.
I understand why she got charged with that, but it's the false report to an official. That charge doesn't make any sense. So her husband's an official? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense at all.
And then on top of that, she sent an AI-generated photo to prove it. So even if she didn't call 911 herself, she set the entire false emergency in motion. And it looks like, from reading the police statements and other countries' warnings, that in many jurisdictions, that's actually enough to face false reporting charges. So
I understand that. It makes sense why she did get in trouble for that. I just don't understand the false something to an official. But that is what doesn't make sense. Everything else? Yeah.
So even if she didn't make the false call to the police, she caused the false report to happen. So if prosecutors can show that she intentionally made a knowingly false statement that led to an emergency service being sent out, that can be treated the same as filing the false report herself. And here's another layer worth considering, because the police responded to Code 3, meaning it's not just a minor prank. They burned real resources and potentially put officers and neighbors at risk here. So I mean, if there's one thing I've noticed with trends like this, prosecutors tend to hit the initial arrest pretty hard because they want to make an example out of others, so, people don't go on and do the same thing. So
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Everything that they've did makes sense. I just don't understand them making a false report to an official. But I guess your husband's the one who reported it, and I guess he was making the false report. So then maybe it does make sense.
Obviously, she didn't place the 911 call, but technically she orchestrated it. And from a legal standpoint, that could be just as serious. But just to zoom out for a second, because this just wasn't like one woman with a bad judgment. What Moesha did is tied to a viral social media trend on TikTok called the AI homeless prank, or homeless man prank. And lately, I've been covering a lot of these stories involving fake AI doctors, AI catfishers, essentially all sorts of people using AI to lie. And it's safe to say we're getting more and more cursed by the day. And this is definitely just gonna get weirder and weirder, faster and faster. And in this case, it's exactly what I mean. People online think stuff is hilarious, and honestly, sometimes it's funny in a dark, absurd way, but unfortunately, it's no longer a joke when emergency services get taken away from real emergencies to attend to a joke.
Things always get taken away. They always get progressively worse, for the most part. There was someone who has like Halloween decorations. I'm not sure where this is. It's somewhere, I want to say California, but they have their house lit up like it's on fire. And it looks real. You can go look this up on Google because you'll probably find it pretty easily. There's a house out there. Actually, you know what? I'll do it right now.
Now, this Halloween house
display
in Fountain in South Carolina has become a very hot.
This looks so real. I think people saw this and called the cops on these people, or like fire trucks or whatever. You can't tell me that doesn't look real. So in that situation too, did that homeowner there get charged? Because I could kind of see why they would. Because that's way too realistic looking. It looks like looks like the house is burning down.
Imagine picking up your phone and you see an intruder at your door, in your living room, even in your bed.
We do not know this man. Tell him to get out.
That's exactly what's happening across the country on social media.
We could feed him, and then he said he'd stay for the night.
But these images are not real.
Can't just let people in our house.
They're part of a trend called the AI homeless man prank, where users deploy artificial intelligence to create fake images of a man inside your home. Police are warning it needs to stop now.
You're causing...
I highly doubt that this is going to be the only police incident around this prank, because it's so believable that unless you're very conscious of what you're doing and careful about, where you're doing it and when you're doing it, and so that way that the person you're pranking doesn't call the cops. If you're not really careful, then yeah, they're going to call the cops.
Your friends and your family to panic, to think you're in danger. Number two, you're tying up a police public safety answering point, a 911 dispatch center. You're wasting the police resources.
A Google search of homeless man prank turns up a website which gives instructions on how to create the image.
Like, do you guys remember when Yahoo
Someone created a website for that prank? What?
how-to articles would show up step-by-step how to tie your shoes or basic stuff like that?
Yeah.
Now we have guides on how to make it look like a homeless guy is getting into our houses. We're not just talking about like trolling on the internet at this point, honestly. Like, we're talking about scaring the hell out of family members, wasting community resources, and now creating a real danger. As the New York Times reports, the prank works like this. Someone uses AI to generate a realistic photo of a...
As far as pranks go, I actually don't find this that crazy. yeah, it's gonna shock people. But compared to a lot of other pranks and things that you could do, it doesn't actually harm anyone. The harm is when people are calling the cops, and then their resources being taken away, which could be used to help people, and those are coming to your house. And that is obviously going to happen because not everyone's going to think things through. And then if this becomes a trend, which it is, you know, if 100 people do it, and 90 of them do it properly, you still have 10 people who are calling the cops because of this. And that's a lot of resources being taken away from actual people who need it.
Homeless man sitting on a couch, eating, or in the kitchen, or just lying in bed. Then they text it to a friend or family member claiming a stranger broke in. The person on the receiving end freaks out and sometimes call the police.
So the part of this is to text it to someone. Of course that's going to get the police called. If it's showing it to someone right beside you or something like that, that this happened, and then getting their reaction, you're not going to have the police called doing that. But if you're texting it to people, of course.
And then the prankster then records their reaction and posts it online for laughs. So Captain John Burke of the Salem Police Department warned that if someone actually reports an intruder with a weapon, armed officers could end up confronting innocent people inside the home or even neighbors. Captain John Burke of the Salem Police Department warned that if someone actually reports an intruder with a weapon, armed officers could end up confronting innocent people.
That's like doxing, right? Where I know like a lot of streamers, some people will like dox a streamer and they'll report that the person has a weapon or whatever. And then police will come into the situation with weapons, or SWAT will come in with weapons, and they risk the streamer's life. Because if the streamer doesn't react properly, if the police don't react properly, someone can get hurt. And that has happened before. I remember a few years ago, someone actually got, you know, they lost their life because of a doxing incident. And the people who do that need to be in jail.
Inside the home or even neighbors. Because the Yonkers Police Department in New York even released a full statement on their local Facebook page warning people from this, and they are far from the only police force to do so. Honestly, this is just like a new creative way of swatting. And while this prank
pretty much
might not sound as extreme, if police arrive expecting a violent intruder and make a split-second decision, things can obviously escalate very quickly.
Exactly.
Officials in Massachusetts, Michigan, New York, and Wisconsin have all warned people who pull stunts like this could face serious criminal charges. And this includes jail time or hefty fines. And this trend blew up because it's easy to do. Anyone with basic AI knowledge can whip something like this up. And honestly, it's the kind of prank that at the surface level feels harmless to the person at least making it. They're thinking, oh, it's just a joke. No one actually is going to get hurt here. But
that's how I feel. It only becomes not harmless when you're texting it, because then you don't have control of what that person is doing and how they're reacting. That is where this goes downhill, right? Like if I generated a picture and then showed it to my friend, like, oh, this is what happened to me, and I see them freak out, that's a harmless prank. Me texting it to someone who then is going to react, and I have no control over what they're doing or how they're reacting, that is not harmless.
But if you don't immediately say, hey, no, I'm joking, this is AI, the person you're pranking could easily call 911,
Exactly.
And there you have the situation. I've also seen versions of this too where people are sending their partners videos of AI people in their house flirting with them. So if this trend doesn't get you arrested, it could very well get you divorced.
You're faking that someone comes in to fix something, like, oh, the plumber came over and he's about to clean my pipes, baby. Well, I already let him in, it's free. LOY, be careful. Okay, he found something wrong with the dishwasher, he's fixing it. Why does he have his shirt off? You better be joking. Yeah, he just had to take his shirt off. Oh my gosh. This is, yeah. What kind of plumber is this guy? The kind you see on adult sites. He works better that way. I'm sure he does. I'm coming
Like,
home.
imagine if you do this.
That's funny, but yeah. You were gonna stir up a lot of crap doing this.
Prank on someone, and then your significant other does not believe that it actually was AI, and then they end up divorcing you. And obviously, there's
100%. 100% that could happen. Like, that is a risk you take by doing that.
now like so many public warnings about the uptick in swattings from this exact trend. So clearly, this is becoming a problem, and in some states, people doing this trend could face thousands of dollars in fines and even prison sentences for trying to essentially do this to emergency services. And unfortunately, you can't just say, oh, it was just a prank. I'm sorry about that, guys, and walk away because unfortunately it doesn't work like that. Because Moesha Gardner, she found that out the hard way. Her husband panicked, the police showed up, and now she's getting criminal charges. And to think this was all for a TikTok trend. Oh boy. But Gardner was just released on bond, and she's currently
So she wasn't the one who started the trend?
awaiting the legal process. If convicted, she could be facing some serious penalties under Maryland law. And even if she avoids jail, the arrest and charges are already public, so this definitely will impact her life. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Anyway, hope you guys like this. Pretty friggin' wild. Pretty wild. I was not aware of this trend. I mean, I don't use TikTok. I post stuff there now and then, but I don't really go on and doom scroll. I do that on YouTube Shorts. Regardless, I was not aware of this trend, so it's pretty wild seeing this as an actual thing. But I'm not surprised. If you do any kind of math, you'll understand the average IQ is 100, which means half of the population is under that. And when you and it starts making sense when you see stuff like this, where, you know, if you just think things through, you'd be like, well, maybe this isn't a good idea. You know that there's going to be a big percentage of people who think it's a good idea, and yeah, it's gonna backfire. It's just like the devious licks trend from a few years ago, where people would just steal stuff in like schools and whatever. And it was, I would say that's more of an issue than this. Yeah, this is an issue because you're wasting police resources and whatever, and you do risk, you know, having an accident with the police if they, you know, are trigger happy or whatever. But the devious licks thing, the whole trend is just stealing crap. The whole trend is felonies. There is, it's the whole thing's a felony. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys like this. It's definitely interesting. If you guys enjoyed it, I may react to some more Tozy in the future. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.